care about the future, cause they live it in the past. Sal and Curtis are taking all 5 seasons of Blossom to task.
You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll be weak in the knees. This show's got more range than this on the keys.
Only gal in the house, and that's how she goes. One brother was a junkie, and the other one was.
Weekly lessons coming fast in the Russo flat. Blossom's teenage girl problems are as big as her hat.
So take your opinionations and make them shine. It's the OK Bloomer podcast, and it's about damn time.
Don't know. Don't know.
Episode 12, my friend.
The penultimate episode of season 1.
I don't know what that means.
This is the second last episode of season 1.
So I only have to watch this intro twice more. No, once more.
Once more
after today.
Once more after today.
Oh.
That's it.
Good stuff. So be interesting. Got my second shot today, and my arm is just like weighted.
Oh, yeah.
You two, man, we're both vaccinated.
That's it. I had mine a week ago.
We can do this in person now.
I know.
We can do this in person in 2 weeks.
We should.
I'll fly out there every week, and we'll do it.
Sounds great.
Just like 2 inches from each other's face, just breathing into each other because we can.
Because why not, man?
Just breathy blossom. Just inhaling each other's exhale. Okay. All right.
This is getting weird. This is getting a little weird.
Give me the rundown.
Oh, man. They're so good this week.
All right.
So good. When I read the Disney Plus synopsis, I actually had to walk away. I was laughing so hard. It's great this week.
I cannot wait.
Oh, man. Okay, so we're talking season 1, episode 12. It's called Papa's Little Dividend. And neither of us last time knew what that meant. And no. I got to tell you, I was not expecting this episode to be what it was at all.
You mean rewarding on every level?
Yes, in some ways, in a lot of ways. This episode first aired April 8th, 1991. Here we go, Curtis. The Disney Plus synopsis for the week. Okay. Blossom and a friend plot to spy on a woman from Nick's past.
Did they not want to give anything away? What an odd... Like, they're trying to do it incorrectly at this point.
Yeah.
That makes no sense.
We had...
activity participated in by some.
I love how they
That's what that reminds me of.
I love how they couldn't even write Six's name. It was like, Blossom and a friend.
Oh, my goodness. Poor Jenna Von Oy.
Yeah. And, like, at that point, they might have even... They probably shouldn't have even written Nick's past. They should have just been like, from the dad's past. If they're being that unspecific with it.
Why?
So bad.
Who find me someone that read that synopsis and was like, well, I gotta watch this one.
Yeah. Sounds thrilling.
I'm gonna skip the first 11 and jump right to 12. Blossom and a friend spy on someone from Nick's past.
Ooh.
Yeah, that actually does sound kind of fun. That actually, saying and a friend actually makes me more curious than if they would have said 6, to be honest, now that I'm saying it aloud and rolling around in my brain.
What?
Because who is it if it's not 6?
Well,
clearly, if it was 6, they should have said 6. So, I know, but as I'm reading it, without knowing, if I had not seen the episode, I would have been like, yeah, I'm going to watch this one. Who's this friend?
All right, well, this is already...
It's misleading. It's smoke and mirrors, Sal. They're doing everything they can to pull Blossom viewers in that have left since episode 8.
This is already
get them back.
Not where I was expecting this to go right now, but here we are.
I'm sorry. Okay, say your bit. What did you wanted me to go off on how lazy they were?
No, I thought it was just hilarious, just at how
it's very funny, but
so non-specific it is to this episode.
I'm just so used to them striking out, I'm numb to it. I'm surprised they said Blossom. I wouldn't even bat an eye if they were like, a young woman encounters problems.
The main protagonist
that have to do with growing up. I'm so beaten down by the whole Disney Plus / what was it on before? I never remember. Like Amazon or Netflix or
iTunes.
No, it was like iTunes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so beaten down by this. You're the one that's like in charge of it. I'm always responding to it, and I still just completely get it wrong all the time of who wrote what, when, and it's lazy,
Agreed.
It's lazy, and there's got to be some sort of reason for it, but I can't on earth figure out why they would phone it in to that degree. And now I'm with you. They're like challenging themselves to see how bad they can write this at this point, I think.
You've come full circle on it now. That's great.
Yeah, screw these guys. You're right all
Nah,
along,
man,
Sal.
it's cool. Have your opinion. I was just...
Nah.
You know?
I want to find this person and push them down the stairs.
Amazing.
So they don't write anymore. Like, what can I do to just make them stop?
Oh, jeez. Take away their hands.
Well, I kind of stood up for him and you weren't having any of it, so let's take another run at it. And now you're all offended. Oh my God, Curtis, you've gone too far.
Yeah, you
can't
swung
pitch it
way too
across
far in
plate
the
a
other
second
direction, man.
Wow.
Way too far. We went from this is bad writing to like, let's commit murder on this person.
I don't want them to die. I just want them to not be able to type or write with a pen anymore.
Look, man, whatever sick Saw game you have planned for this, I want no part of it.
They're welcome to fashion some sort of pedal-only bike where they don't need their hands and they can go on living their best life. I just don't want them to ever write again. As someone who writes for a living, I am completely aghast.
All right,
offended on every level.
I'm back on board.
Like I want to go to their house and break every pencil so they don't write anymore. Like, what can I do
to
make you stop writing iTunes/Disney Plus synopsis?
I'm fully back on board. We're gonna go to their house and smash their hands with a hammer.
Right? And I will tie them to the chair and I will make them watch an episode and be like, what was your takeaway? And they'll be like, well, do you remember that time Blossom picked up her shoe? And I'll be like, no, that is not what the episode is about. Think harder. We'll watch it again. What else happened that you think was interesting? Like, Joey went from the kitchen to the living room. No, you're missing it. You're missing it again. We're going to watch it a third time. What are the main events that happen in this show? Like, explain your day to me with the highlights. And they'll be like, well, I picked up my keys off the counter. Like, no, okay. And I'll just start yelling in the side of their face. Do better!
How dumb are we going to feel when like we figure out one day that it actually is a bot that's doing all this? It's just randomly generated from like taking a transcript of the episode.
On the last episode, we'll have this weird like, blip in the matrix where we'll realize in another like 6 years somehow we're gonna write these. And it was us all along.
It's like some real Tenet stuff there. Right?
There it is. I had no relevant pop culture comparison because I don't watch any new movies or anything from the last 10 years. So I was like, it's like
I mean, I think that's what Tenet's about. I did not understand. It was overly confusing for the sake of being confusing. But that's neither here nor there.
Quantum Leap? Is it like Quantum Leap?
Maybe.
I guess if you're listening to a Blossom podcast, you might know Quantum Leap. What am I talking about trying to reference new things? Anyone listening to a Blossom podcast has not moved on from the 90s, and we love you for it.
Is Quantum Leap the one with the backs? Scott Bakula?
Yeah. Yeah.
I love the backs, man.
And the... You gotta make a shirt that says back to the backs. Fuck 2020, I'm going back to the backs.
Bring back backs.
There it is. And who is this jumpy little sidekick with the little transmitter? There's always like, I don't know, man. We could be anywhere.
I don't know, man.
I hated that guy so much. Like, not the character, just the actor. I was like, I bet you that guy in real life is the most annoying person in the world. Like, when he auditioned for it, they were like, yeah, just do that. And he was like, well, don't you want me to act? They're like, you weren't acting? That's okay, whatever. Just be you.
Moving in from Quantum Leap to Blossom. TV Database says Blossom and Six spy on a woman who claims a rattled Nick is the father of her child. And Anthony preps for a blind date.
Oh, that's almost too much information. See, is that better?
I think it's better.
Don't you wish you had the surprise of the pregnancy scare? Don't you wish you came in to that cold? Because I wasn't ready for that.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
I think like that's a spoiler. I think in 2021, people would be very annoyed by that. They would throw their hands up in disgust and be like, spoiler much? And then you'd have to quantum leap back in time and rewrite it. And admit that the Disney Plus people were right to not give it away. I thought your way was wrong, but it was right. No matter what we do, people are mad.
This is
Let's
turning into like a
back
whole
out of 2021
other episode based on this one.
Right?
A quantum leap and
Then
Blossom crossover.
Then they go back in time, and when Blossom has that flashback about when she went to the girls' school, inside of that episode, there's another flashback of like when she hadn't graduated elementary school yet, and was talking about how she didn't want to go to an all-girls school.
All right, well, if we already have Blauf, then this show has to be called Quassum.
Quassum and Blauf. Oh man, they should cast Will Smith as the new Scott Bakula, and it could be Back in Black. How amazing would that be?
So it's like what, Men in Black mixed with
Scott Bakula.
Yeah,
exactly what I was going for. All right,
get into it, man.
I press play on episode 12, and it asks if I want to skip the opening, and I say no, but you know what? It's time to face my demons, Sal. Since we started this, I've been on this moral crusade trying to explain that when 15-year-old Blossom straddles the chair and tips back, it makes me uncomfortable, but this time, I don't look away, Sal. I stare right into her eyes.
Oh my
and
God.
I don't know. Still weird vibes. I don't like it. I don't like the fact that she's basically doing a very sexualized kind of dance number with the chair, but I face my demons. I only have to deal with this for one more show, so I thought it was time. But however, this time, when the camcorder falls off, I notice some paperback books on the ground, and I wonder what they could be. So let's Google what was the #1 selling paperback in 1991. You know what it was? It was The Outlander by Deanna Gabaldon. The year, Sal, is 1945. Claire Randall, a former combat nurse, is just back from war and reunited with her husband on a second honeymoon. When she walks through a standing stone in one of the ancient circles that dot the British Isles, suddenly she is a Sassenach, an outlander, in a Scotland torn by war and raiding border clans in the year of our Lord, 1743. That's clearly what Blossom was reading.
Where is this show going right now?
The #2 selling book, The Firm. #3, American Psycho. Did you ever read that?
No.
Bad vibes. Everybody loved that book in the movie, and it didn't do anything for me. It was like how everybody loved the Joker in, 2018 or 2019?
Oh yeah, no, but that was awful. That was awful.
Yeah, it was kind of the same vibes where people just were like, "Oh, it was so great." It was like, no, it was kind of, you know how there's like good disturbing that really makes you think and challenges you, and then there's just like bad disturbing where you just feel gross, like Requiem for a Dream. This was kind of the latter.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, so that's what Blossom was reading in the opening, clearly.
Yes, clearly.
But out of that, take it away, Sal. We have Too Many Cooks the Night Shot again, and we jump into episode 12.
Yes, and the shot is actually there this week, because last week it was 6 seconds of black off the top.
Because someone messed up.
Yeah, so we actually have an exterior of the house. So we go inside the kitchen, and Joey is making a meal out of eating a sandwich.
Yeah.
He's like taking his sweet ass time just staring at this sandwich as we open the show.
I wrote he's dressed like Elliot from E.T., and
Yep.
Blossom is dressed like if Ronald McDonald was the 2018 Joker, as I just talked about. There's a lot of fashion stuff going on here. And before you continue, can I mention that shot 2, like the second shot, we go from Too Many Cooks is shot 1 of this episode. Shot 2 is Joey at the table, Blossom at the counter, and then shot 3 has this gigantic continuity error where Joey has his hands like in the air when they cut between shot 2 and 3. It was off to a bad start, Sal. I was like, you are already like minus 50 episode 12. You have some climbing to do, in my opinion.
You're calling foul on the whole thing due to a bad edit.
It made me mad right off the top. I was like, what are we doing here? Are we making TV, or are we just making wallpaper, a bunch of unconnected shots together and try to make a wraparound story?
I'm sure when they were editing this together, they were like, nobody in 30 years from now is going to look at this through a microscope. So it really doesn't matter.
It wasn't through a microscope. His hands were down, and the next shot, his hands were above his head.
All right, man.
I mean, like, the dumbest person out there with iMovie would be like, oh, that's a bad edit, bro.
Apparently not me, because I didn't see it.
Okay, the second dumbest person with iMovie out there would be like, that's a bad edit, bro.
All right, so Anthony comes
Okay.
in frantic, and that's becoming sort of a trend now.
Right, he's our Kramer.
Yeah. He's wearing short sleeves, by the way.
Yeah, no track marks.
No.
That whole thing's out the window, unfortunately.
He's asking if anyone's called for him. He said Jerry Newman's girlfriend is setting him up with her cousin on a blind date, and he's nervous. And Joey says he'd be nervous too. His last blind date looked like she should have been pulling a sled in the Yukon.
I ring the bell on that one.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Anthony says it's not about her looks. She's normal. She's never been arrested or done drugs. And the only place she wears her earrings is in her ears.
I wrote there's a lot of 1991 shade thrown in that line.
Yeah. Hit me with it, because I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't really understand it.
Okay, something I didn't mention here first, that I skipped over this because I thought maybe I had just like copy and pasted like you wouldn't believe in this episode. But this episode was written by Nancy Beverly.
Yes.
Okay? So when Nancy Beverly moved to LA, she started working in sitcoms. She sold scripts to Roseanne and Blossom, and she took a class in trance channeling.
Okay.
So the sitcom world wasn't, quote, groovy for me after a few years, end quote. So she wanted to work on meteor shows. She switched to hour-long dramas, worked on Desperate Housewives and Ghost Whisperer as a producer's assistant. So she's the writer and producer, this is going somewhere, of the 37-minute film Shelby's Vacation, a lesbian dramedy. In 2019, it won the Audience Choice Award at Perth's Dyke Drama Film Festival. I'm telling you that to tell you this. When she adds a joke where Joey says his last blind date should have been pulling a sled in the Yukon because she looks like a dog, I was like, what the f***, Nancy Beverly? Right? I was like, what is happening? Are you just like writing to your audience? I expected her to be like punching above her weight and bringing in the Blossom as a feminist icon, but no, she's going in the other direction. So I don't know what to make of this episode.
Hey, man. Money talks, and she was probably a struggling writer at this time, so...
All morals in one of those many recycling bins in the kitchen. Just
Hell yes, man.
take it out to the curb.
What do you want me to tell you?
Nothing. Just get a big stamp that says "sellout" for Nancy Beverly's forehead, I guess. It's so typical. Like, where's your morals now in Hollywood, Nancy Beverly? That's right. That's right. Make the dog joke, girl. Make it. Some guy standing behind the camera just peeling off fives for her. Yeah. Make him say it, Nancy. Add the line. You're no one. The phone rings and Anthony stares at it. Anthony can't move his hands, so Blossom answers it. And I wrote, Anthony is still dressed like casual 1997 Shawn Michaels.
He
Can't
really
get
is.
that out of my head.
He so is, man.
Heartbreak, kid. He answers the phone. I got news for you, Jack. So she answers the phone, and gives it to Anthony, and he starts talking. My notes are really bad here. I'm sorry.
All
and
good.
Anthony's like, "What? Friday? Well, Friday I usually just go to a meatless meat cooking class." Cutaway, and Joey Lawrence once again sucks up the scene with a great "I'm cheering you on, you moron" grin. I love, right?
Yeah, that was great.
So then Anthony hangs up and says, "He can't wait to see me then." Train wreck.
Oh, yeah.
Train wreck.
He screwed up big time on the phone call.
So Blossom hopes Anthony hasn't bit off more than he can chew, and then here comes the punchline. Joey, with a mouthful, agrees.
Classic sitcom shit.
Right. A single tear runs down Nancy Beverly's cheek as she yells cut on that scene.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah. Write the dog joke, Nancy. You'll do what I say or you'll never work in this town again. You want to work on Desperate Housewives? Write the dog joke. I don't know who this character is that I've been referencing that just stands in the shadows. Would he be like the like financial backer? I don't know.
He's like the guy where like you go into his office and all he does all day is like stare out the window. And when you come in, he like turns around in his big chair and puts his feet up on his desk and he's got like a cigar.
Yeah, and he's like super passive aggressive about how he could replace you with like the snap of his fingers.
Whenever I hear like the phrase fat cat, I picture this guy.
Oh, totally. Yeah. And he calls everyone like doll face.
Yeah.
Like he's super, but you got to take it, or you know.
Totally.
Like the way it was in 1991. Yeah, that's that guy.
So the doorbell rings and Blossom and Joey transition into the living room. And Joey says, "If that's Julia Roberts, send her up to my room, third door on the right."
Once again, what the Nancy Beverly? Like, why are you writing this like bottom-feeding male humor? Did you jump over Blossom's reaction to that line?
Maybe. What'd she say?
He says, "If that's Julie Roberts, send her upstairs. Third door on the left." And Blossom says, "That's the linen closet." And textbook narcissist Joey just agrees and says, "I knew that." Goes upstairs. He could care less who's at the door. It has nothing to do with him. So he's just like going upstairs, checking out the linen closet, waiting for Julia Roberts, I guess.
You know, it's funny. Like, since you pointed that out, like, I've noticed it, and it happens like a bunch in this episode, where Joey just like, it doesn't affect him directly, so he just does not care.
Yeah.
It's
you
great.
You could never make him like, his shoulders never sink.
Right.
You know what I mean? They never sag. You're never going to knock Joey down because he knows who he is and he knows he's going to be awesome like no matter what life throws at him and he just doesn't care.
It's great, man.
Get wrapped up in the drama in the Russo house because he's Joey.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, man.
All right, so behind the front door is our Pitt character.
You better believe it is.
And she is a Julia Roberts type.
What does that mean?
He mentioned Julia Roberts, and then there's like this redhead just like standing at the door.
Ah.
She looks like a knockoff Julia Roberts.
She looks like an Arlene McCafferty to me.
Yes. So she's looking. Go on.
I mean, just McCafferty? Like, what are you doing, Nancy Beverly? Okay, I got this great new character, Arlene McCafferty. Sure, whatever.
You're ragging on the name?
How about Jane Smith? Like, what are McCafferty? Have you ever heard the name McCafferty before?
McCafferty? Yes, I have.
Have you?
McCafferty.
You were hanging out with the McCaffertys last night. Shut up. I've never heard the name McCafferty before.
Dude, what are you talking about right now?
I'm talking about the last name McCafferty. I've never heard that name before in my life. It's like Mr. like Needle Thumb.
What is this, like Harry Potter characters?
It just sounds like something she started and had no idea where it was going to end up. They're like, what's this character's name? And Nancy was like, oh shit, Arlene, what's an Irish name? McCafferty. Yeah.
Oh man, I just looked up like famous McCaffertys.
And there were zero.
Yeah,
and it was Arlene, right? It was just Arlene.
There's nobody here of note. Damn.
That's because it's a made-up name.
No, it's a name.
It's not. Okay, get someone named McCafferty on the show next week, Sal.
All right, done.
I'm calling your bluff. Yeah?
Done.
You were hanging out with the McCaffertys last week? Good people?
Maybe I was. This is the show that has a Bobby every other week. I'm not too worried about McCafferty as a character's last name.
And it's Arlene McCafferty. She's having a baby.
A toy.
Oh, no.
It's okay. I'm half Irish.
So am I. That's awesome. So
Right.
you might say she's after Nick's Lucky Charms. Oh, she's already had Nick's Lucky Charms, let me tell you.
Oh, jeez.
That's where we go next.
Right?
Was
just... There's a lot going on here. She's frantically looking for Nick. She says she's an old friend, Blossom says he's out at a gig. He'll be back later. Asks to take a message.
Yeah, no, she's like, can I wait inside?
Yeah.
I really need to talk to Nick, which is, like, is that just a 1991 thing? I was like, lady, get out of the house. Like,
Yeah,
call
right?
the cops, Blossom.
I know, yeah. I was thinking that too. I was like, this lady's basically just like barging her way into the house.
And then I thought, well, she has red hair, so maybe she has to get inside before the sun comes back out.
It's entirely possible.
Like, it's desperate. Like, you don't understand, Blossom.
Because she's a McCafferty.
And cancer be tapping on my shoulder.
That's amazing.
Oh my god, okay.
And she assures Blossom that she's not an axe murderer by telling her that she's not an axe murderer.
Always reassuring.
That sounds a lot like something an axe murderer would say.
Right. I wrote, Blossom doesn't know what to make of Arlene McCafferty, and neither do I. And also, Blossom's hair is a complete mess.
Oh, yeah, I kind of noticed that, actually.
Like, she has random strands sticking out on both sides of her head.
Yeah.
Makeup people were fired after this one. Like, hair and makeup, that whole department was gone.
Or they just didn't show up this day.
Maybe.
We better hurry up. We only have Arlene McCafferty till the sun comes up.
Right?
I feel like I'm doing like a pirate voice.
Yeah, that's fine.
Close enough.
It's fine. It sounds similar.
Right.
Were there Irish pirates? Oh my god, the Irish pirate. That's $1 million idea.
Write that one down.
Yeah, that's going to be the third reboot of Blossom. She's an Irish pirate. Her and Arlene McCafferty don't go looking for trouble on the sea, but trouble finds them.
Jeez. The Irish Pirates.
It's going to be on Netflix next week, guaranteed. The Irish Pirates, that's a home run idea. Before Blossom can answer, Nick comes from the kitchen and says he's back just to pick up a tape. He runs into the living room, grabs it, and is leaving when Arlene says hi, and he does a double take. And we get the dark side of Nick's extracurricular activities. They banged a year ago, and he never called Arlene McCafferty back.
No, he did not. Yeah, this is a topic I was not expecting to arise on this show.
And it made me mad, Sal. I was like, are you kidding me?
You're mad that Nick didn't call her back?
Yeah, and she has a kid?
Okay.
Like, are you kidding me? I was like, Blossom, do it. Give your dad the gears. This is the guy that spends every single episode telling anyone who will listen that the biggest goal in his life is to make sure his daughter Blossom doesn't get knocked up while he's out there smashing the Irish.
Yeah, well, he's a grown-ass man. He can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, like Arlene McCafferty, apparently.
There you go.
Oh my, like, we will forever be divided on Nick Russo. Hot take, I think he's trash.
Okay, in this scene, I had the same thought process running through my head that, like, his biggest fear is Blossom getting pregnant. Then he's just out there all willy-nilly, you know?
Bareback and Arlene McCafferty.
Yeah, but this is not what I was expecting at all for this episode.
And the title is stupid.
Yeah, agreed.
Like, it made no sense.
Agreed.
Like, it should have been called Nick Russo's Bastard Child. And then I would have been like, okay, I see where they're going. It should have been Nick Bangs Arlene McCafferty. It should have been... Or Nick Regrets Banging Arlene McCafferty. Should have been the synopsis on Disney+. So he tells Blossom to go upstairs, but Blossom, ever the sneak, what does Blossom do?
She does this thing where she stamps on the stairs to make it sound like she's walking upstairs, and then she just kind of ducks down and hides behind the banister, which you can see through, by the way. Arlene McCafferty had a clear shot of Blossom eavesdropping on this conversation.
She's there to just inject chaos into the Russo household, so she doesn't care.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is actually the big reveal, isn't it?
Yes, so this is the part where the reveal happens.
I didn't know what to make of this. I was watching this through, like, I was trying to cover my eyes, but separating my fingers just enough that I could keep watching.
Well, it's because, like, you kind of knew where it was going, Once she said,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, we hung out like a year ago, whatever. You never called me back," sort of thing.
Yeah.
So anyways,
I know what Nick's version of hanging out is. Let me tell you. Right?
Well, Nick
When
said,
Nick Russo says he wants to hang you, it's go time.
Nick basically says he thought it was just like a one night thing, and I don't know, like what? You're mad at him over this? He said he wasn't ready for a relationship. His divorce, with his divorce and taking care of his 3 kids. And this is where Arlene says 4 kids, and he says no, 3 kids. And then Arlene holds up a picture of what appears to be a baby.
And the crowd has no idea what to do. Did you get that? There's like a kind of muffled chuckle.
Yeah.
Then nothing.
Yeah.
And then oh!
So apparently Nick played at the Starlight Lounge where Arlene McCafferty was a waitress. And I guess he took her home about a year ago. And now
Well, he probably didn't take her home because his kids would have been home. So,
well, a figure of speech.
I'm thinking like in the alley behind the restaurant while she's on break.
Hey man, whatever
He's such
works.
a classy guy.
Wait, dude, what do you expect him to do? He hooks up with this girl. He's supposed to call her and be like, "Hey, did you happen to get pregnant?"
Yeah, you could do the right thing. If she was like, "Oh, we don't need protection." That was not. Yeah, he should own it.
Yeah, but he used protection. He says that he did.
What? When did that happen?
Ah, dude.
He said that?
Yeah.
I totally missed that.
Oh my god.
And come on. What? I think you're just making up stuff so you don't have to realize the truth about the fact that Nick Russo
it's in a few
is
scenes.
a scumbag.
So let's just carry on,
Okay.
and we'll come back to it.
So Nick finally looks at the baby picture, and then for some reason the crowd laughs. I have no idea what's happening. Is the cue card person drunk? But the reaction to that scene was all over the place.
Yeah, fair enough.
I was like, how do you have sex with someone's last name McCafferty? I wouldn't be able to get that out of my head. I'd just be like, oh no.
McCafferty, bro. It's a last name.
I'd be like, this girl is lying to me about her name. That's how embarrassed she is to be having sex with me in the alley on her break. She probably looked across the street and there was like a McDonald's and like a caffeine like coffee shop, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm McCafferty."
I gotta find somebody.
And you're gonna call me tomorrow, right? Tell me you'll call me tomorrow. Tell me you'll call me tomorrow. And he's like, "Oh yeah, whatever, lady."
You're really against Nick having a one night stand.
I am.
What?
Maybe I'm just against one night stands.
Apparently,
I got married when I was 20. Maybe I'm morally against just hooking up all willy-nilly. Maybe you're learning this about me now as we're doing a Blossom Review podcast.
I think I am, because it offends you greatly.
It's very 1991, because again, it wouldn't be such a big deal to me, but he is just, he's the cool dad until Blossom's like, "I'm going to turn my head and look at that boy." And he's like, "No, you're not. You absolutely will not even look at that boy. You've given me no reason whatsoever to think you're sexually active in the least, but I'm just going to make sure, you don't even think about boys because I just can't deal with that." And he's out banging Arlene McCafferty in the alley, that is so hypocritical.
She's 14 and he's 35.
So? You can't be the cool dad and be living that's so hypocritical. You can't be living this double life. Oh god, if Bobby from episode 2 stayed, the coolest guy in high school, and him and Blossom were a couple and they had been dating for 6 months and they had sex finally, you think he wouldn't fly off the handle at that? Because he would. He's shown us that still would not be acceptable. But yet, he doesn't give a crap. He can go do whatever he wants. I just think those scales are unbalanced.
I don't know, man. I think it's more of an age thing than anything. She's a child and he's a grown-ass man.
I'm not going to back down on this, Sal. I'm not going to back down on this. I think that's a scummy thing to do.
Fair enough.
Maybe someone didn't call me back the next morning, Sal, okay? Maybe this is traumatic, okay? Maybe my Arlene McCafferty never called me back. Upstairs, Joey's looking at porn.
The old-fashioned way. He's got the centerfold vertical.
Right? It was really when the art peaked, right?
Yeah.
Like, we lost our way after that. When that wasn't a thing anymore, when that third page no longer flipped out, it was done. Like,
Was that the beginning of the end?
right? Like, you might as well bang Arlene McCafferty at that point, because there's nothing left to look forward to.
Because what else is
There's
there?
no more sexual awakening.
Jeez. So Anthony barges in his room.
Just for the record, if I had to rate online porn, classic centerfold porn, Arlene McCafferty would be the order I chose.
Anthony barges in his room and he knows what's up. He knows what's going on. Joey quickly throws the magazine under the bed.
And did you notice, though, like, he, again, very subtle, but I appreciate it, Joey Lawrence, if you're listening, the way he kind of quickly sat up straight and kind of, like, perfectly straight, so the bottom of his sweatshirt hangs past the front of his jeans. Big thumbs up, Joey. We have all been there, my friend. That is how it's done. You know he did that without anybody else on set realizing the brilliance of what he was doing.
Yeah, that was a nice touch.
Yeah.
So Anthony's all worried. He doesn't know where to take his date. Joey suggests the wax museum. And then Anthony says he thought he'd look up some travel places to have interesting things to talk to his date about. And Joey says he's been to places she's never been, like the Betty Ford Clinic. Ouch.
That joke falls flat.
Yeah,
we have
but-
a gun-shy studio audience this week.
It was so good, though.
Oh, yeah, no, I was laughing my head off, but then I
Yeah.
rewound it and I was like, what did the audience think of this? And they did not react at all. I also pointed out that for some weird reason, well, I mean, we know why, but Joey's, like, doing jazz hands and over-the-top facial expressions to keep Anthony's eyes up.
I didn't notice that. That's hilarious.
Yeah, he's, like, waving his hands by his head, and I was like, yeah, just give it a second, buddy. You'll be fine.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
Well
Joey
done,
Lawrence, man.
The subtleties.
Joey Lawrence is
the
an absolute
subtleties.
gem. We went into this show, and I was just thinking he is going to be the, like, Joey of Friends, just like, oh, here comes Joey with the dumb line, but every week, Joey Lawrence is reason to celebrate, whether they knew it or not.
Right.
Joey Lawrence is reason to celebrate
I agree.
on the first season of Blossom.
I agree. So then Anthony says he wants something interesting to talk to her about that isn't their mother running away, his equivalency diploma, his LSD trips, or alcoholism. And then he leaves. And Joey says, well, you're no Beaver Cleaver. And then he goes back to the porno mag.
It's literally word for word what I wrote.
Right as Blossom barges in now, and Joey throws the magazine away again. And Blossom tells him that their dad's in trouble and he needs to come downstairs.
And he doesn't want to because he wants to masturbate.
Yep. He sure does.
But she bribes him with cake, and he jumps off his bed. And I honestly kind of feel offended, but we deserve this, right? We've had a show that more often than not has been male writers cluelessly writing what happens in a teenage girl's mind. This week we have the opposite. This week, cake is the obvious answer for the never-ending teenage male sexual frustration. Right? The writer was like, what do high school dudes love more than that? Cake, yeah.
It's totally
yeah.
ice cream and cake.
Right? You got this, Nancy. You got this. Teenage boys to a T. It's like I've been studying my whole life, she's thinking.
So Nick's on the phone. As he hangs up, he's apparently booked a DNA test.
Because that's super classy.
Well, he's got to
Right?
know for sure.
Well, yeah, after banging Arlene in the alley, he's like, I don't want to pay for it. So,
Jesus.
right?
At this point, I was really hoping the cameo of the week was going to be Maury Povich. But I don't think that's going to happen.
Right. Like, you can't go around drilling waitresses, bro. Sorry.
Why not? Why can't he? Why not?
Because this happens.
Yeah, this happens.
All right, man.
Jesus, I didn't think we were going to get into such a...
I didn't know we'd be on
Is
the sides of
is
it.
this a religious thing? What is this?
No, not at all. I feel like he is doing everything he can to put this back on her.
Yeah, but then again, if there's like... A lady that you've met once a year ago comes back and tells you this. Like, you're going to want to be
but you
sure that
slept
she's
with her.
legit, right?
But you... Fair enough, but that's the first thing you do?
Yeah, that's the first thing I would do.
All right, okay. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to, like, suck up to any ladies listening or anything, but here we have a guy who sleeps with a waitress, doesn't call her back. She comes back a year later and is like, I had your kid, and he was like, I'm gonna get a paternity test immediately. Like, doesn't want to take her out for coffee or something and be like, holy crap, like, are you sure? I am. I'm sorry I didn't call you back and knocked you up, and now I'm just gonna make sure it's not mine. And,
Well, they did that, though. They had that conversation in the living room.
yeah, for 3 seconds. He's like, cool. Okay, I need to make a phone call. You know he would have just moved his family if it was his. He would have been like, everyone in the car, kids.
He said like 3 times during the episode he would take care of the kid if it was his.
No, he said he would do the right thing.
All right, there's
He
more
said-
stuff we got to
he
get
said-
to later. Let's
He
just
said, do the right thing, Sal.
Okay,
That's like a Netflix documentary line.
there's a whole part where he says, "Did you watch this episode?"
I did watch this episode.
All right, we'll get to it. Again, we're going to get to it. Let's just keep rolling.
I was aghast.
Let's just keep rolling.
I was
here.
aghast at the kind of man Nick was.
Nick's a goddamn man, and he's going to do the right thing. All right?
Yeah. I said, he's being a supportive new father by booking a paternity test. It's my actual line. So he tries to open the door, and he hits Joey and Blossom in the face, who are eavesdropping. I said, I like that. That's good. That's good.
Why do these doors in sitcoms exist? Like the swinging door between the kitchen and the living room?
Yeah.
I feel like if those were in an actual house, that would be so unbelievably dangerous.
Yeah. Well, apparently they were, because he punched his 2 kids in the side of the face with it.
But they're in like every sitcom.
Yeah, no, they are. It's a crutch. Should do a documentary on the swinging sitcom door.
It looks like they were eavesdropping on the phone call. Joey sells out Blossom instantly. Says it was her idea to make them come down there and listen. Blossom's shocked. She says she would never do that to Joey, and then instantly throws him under the bus by telling Nick he was just upstairs reading dirty magazines in his room.
Yep. Blossom tells Joey there's a woman Dad used to date, and he couldn't remember her name, and she had a baby, and she couldn't see the picture from the stairs. And I wrote, that is your episode synopsis there, iTunes. That line right there.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yep. And suddenly it's not Blossom, it's Joey, who realizes he just won the lottery, and he goes into Nick for not using protection.
Yeah, and this is the part.
He says he used it? I missed that, because I was too busy writing the line, Nick is always being a dick, and now I'm enjoying him getting some of his own dick medicine.
That's a taste of your own dick medicine.
This might be one of my favorite lines of any show.
So, like, and now Nick has to awkwardly explain to his kids that he may or may not have knocked up some waitress a year ago.
Yeah. Actions have consequences, Nick. Sorry it took you 35 years to figure that out.
Jesus Christ, man. So Joey asked Nick if he used any protection. And aren't we sure that Joey didn't steal his condoms from like a few episodes ago?
Oh, maybe.
Remember he was like snooping through his condoms?
I do.
Yeah.
But I don't think he took Arlene McCafferty home, so...
So then...
But knowing Nick, he probably just, like, rolls into a gig with his, like, piano case full of condoms, because he knows what's happening tonight.
Hell yeah.
He's gonna read some billboards while he impregnates some random waitresses. that he'll never remember their name or call them back. He probably had a copy of The Outlander by Diana Gabaldon to read on, like, the back of their heads.
Oh, God.
That's how cold this man is.
Oh, my God, man. You paint him out to be... I don't even know what.
Nick Russo is not a gentle lover.
Joey asks him if he used protection, and then he says, come on, Dad, it's like the commercials. Don't leave home without it. Which is actually American Express.
Yeah, I'd missed all that.
Yeah.
I was writing through angry eyes at this point.
Well, then you totally missed this part, because Nick tells Joey that he did, but they're not 100% foolproof. And that's when Joey looks shocked and says, well, there's some good news.
I did remember that, so Joey is not a virgin now.
No, he is.
But why does he care then?
Because he was basically saying, like, he thought that if he used condoms, there was no way that he could get somebody pregnant.
Oh, okay. So he's sad for future Joey.
Yeah, he's sad for future Joey, but Nick tells him that
Okay.
that he did use a condom and they don't always work.
Yeah, so then Nick gets mad and says, I'm a grown man, I don't want to discuss it with children, which leads to another weird moment where Joey literally runs out of the room.
Yeah.
Did you notice that? He just puts his head down and bolts.
He literally just shrugs his shoulders and then walks into the kitchen.
Yeah, because again, narcissist, but it's used to set up the next joke, which I enjoyed, because once Joey is gone, Blossom says, now can we talk? And it takes the crowd a second.
Nick doesn't want to, and he says he doesn't have to justify his life to Blossom. Amen. I think that's true. He says, it's something that happens. I'm not proud of it, and he's not even sure if the baby is his anyways. I think he's handling this like a normal person would.
I disagree. So his first thing is to assume that she slept with many men around the same time as him. That's his, it's probably not mine. I'm sure she slept with a parade of men after I left.
Okay,
so,
well, if she
cool.
didn't, then wouldn't she call him when she found out she was pregnant right away? To be like, you're the only person I've slept with and I'm pregnant? You think she would have contacted him at any point in the year before that to let him know?
So you're saying Arlene McCafferty has spent 9 months calling the list of men she slept with in that 1 month? In your world, Sal, it's taken her this long to get to Nick Russo?
No, but I'm saying that if she knew 100% that it was Nick, she would have told him right away when she was pregnant. Who would go through that alone? If Nick Russo was the only person that she has ever hooked up with ever in her life, and she got pregnant, you don't think she would contact him immediately?
So what was the delay then?
She waited a year.
Yeah?
Why would you do that?
Maybe she's waiting for him to call her back.
Ugh.
Maybe she was like, screw this guy. And then after a year, she was like, no, I have a kid now. This is really tough. I thought I could do it on my own. I'm broke. I'm a waitress. I want the guy to finally do the right thing, and he isn't doing it. So now I got to add this to my fucking list of things I need to do as a single mother, as a waitress, and go pull this deadbeat out of his house and be like, hey, can I have some money? Sorry you don't remember my name, but you kind of got me pregnant there, Nick Russo.
We just see two different sides to this.
We see two different. Yeah, man, you're giving Nick Russo just like a clean bill to just go do whatever he wants because he's an adult.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's totally
all right,
valid.
man. Hey, man, to each their own.
All right.
Did you bang waitresses on your way home from work today or something? Where?
Maybe I did, man. What's it to you?
All right. Hey, well,
I'm an adult and I don't have to justify my life to you.
As long as you don't call him back and immediately get a paternity test if one's pregnant and tell everyone that their father could be anyone. This poor waitress is probably like, this guy seems like a really awesome gentleman. He's a musician. That sounds like kind of exciting. And
get out of here.
She got curbed, man.
Dude, she's a waitress and he's a musician. I think they both went into it with the same expectations.
Nah, man, he was out of there. He probably told her like, "Oh yeah, man, I played with Little Richard." Like, "Oh yeah, I'm rich."
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I am coming off like such an ass.
What does the character that will say whatever it takes to have sex with someone do next? We left off where he told Blossom that he's not even sure it's his, basically saying that she's a whore.
Right.
That she probably had a whole bunch of other dudes that same month.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, I mean,
yeah. Because the McCaffertys, they're famous for one thing. Just giving it away.
We know them McCaffertys. Blossom says the situation's pretty heavy. Nick says, tell me about it. And I'm like, tell me about it.
Sure. But can we make mention that he says he's going to, quote, do the right thing if he's the father?
Yeah. It comes back later.
And I don't know what Nick Russo's version of the right thing is, because clearly I am not on the same page as this man. So back upstairs, Blossom is spilling her guts to Six.
Yes.
And she's like, he said he would do the right thing. And she's like, oh, Jesus Christ, he's going to kill that kid. Six knows what's up. Jenna Von Oy is uncomfortable. She's like, this is really dark for an episode of Blossom.
Yeah.
And she keeps looking off camera, trying to find Nancy in the shadows, being like, I thought you had my back, girl. I thought we were gonna write this incredible, like, pro-feminist yarn of 22 minutes and celebrate womanhood, but no, we've gone the opposite way. We've gone to Nick just banging whoever he wants and not having any sort of accountability for it. What is happening?
Oh, I love this, man. This is so good.
This has been the best episode so far that we have been on opposite sides of.
Right? Six is asking what's up. Blossom says she'll tell her, but she has to swear on her hair that she won't tell anyone. Six holds up her hand and says, may I never have a good hair day again. And Blossom says if you tell anyone, she gets to tell everyone about the Ricky Larson tongue incident. And without missing a beat, Six says, wow, this must be really good. Blossom talks about what's going on with her dad. Six says this exact situation is happening on Days of Our Lives. So Blossom seems to think that this woman is going to be her new stepmom.
So was that the right thing in 1991? Because that's a funny moment to reflect back on. That is not what the right thing would be in 2021.
No, exactly. So Blossom basically is going on about how she doesn't know anything about her. The only thing that she knows is that she's fertile. And Six says maybe it's not her dad's baby at all and Arlene is using him for money. Blossom asks what soap opera that comes from. Six says it's from Geraldo. Rich women who breed for greed.
She goes into a weird place when she says that line. Like, as an actress?
Yeah?
Did you notice that?
No.
Like, Six kind of, like, almost broke character there. And she wasn't acting like Jenna Von Oy wasn't acting like Six when she delivered that line. It was really impactful.
Awesome.
It was kind of funny. Yeah. She lost all her Sixisms and just was like, it's not from a soap opera, Smarty Pants. It's from Geraldo. Big thumbs up.
Blossom asks why Arlene would go after her dad because he's not rich. And Six says maybe her dad is one of those guys who pretend to be rich to get women into bed guys. I wrote touche.
Sal and Curtis wrote big thumbs up. Hashtag how it's done. Hashtag every Friday night. Hashtag girls are dumb. Hashtag...
No, come on.
What do you expect?
Let's not get...
Hashtag stupid waitress.
You're getting a few things mixed up here about how I roll as a person. I'm just saying...
Yeah, I don't know. It's been pretty black and white so far, Sal.
This whole Nick storyline just does not offend me personally. Much like Blossom sitting backwards in that chair. Maybe you're just more of a prude. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
But 15-year-old Blossom having sex completely offends you because you're like, oh my god, burn it. Burn that idea. Horrible, horrible.
Yeah.
But the only male in her life can go out and just bang whoever he wants.
Yeah, but she didn't know.
And
so what's the difference?
Deal with it.
It's not like he would have had to tell her
Blossom.
about it.
Oh, she knows because these women come and are like, I think your dad knocked me up. And he's like, who are you again? And she's like, what a good role model, Dad. Tell me again how I need to like go to an all-girls school. Well, maybe because he's clearly at this point just projecting on her.
Oh, come on.
He's like, well, I can't control my sexual urges. I got to sleep with anything and everything. So clearly you're the same way, Blossom.
He's expecting it to be like a one-night thing and never see this person again.
Was she expecting that? Did they have that conversation? It seems like she was expecting a phone call the next day, but he was out ski. He was so far gone.
That's showbiz, baby. I don't know what to tell you, man.
That's how Nick fucking Russo rolls, man.
Yeah.
Never get attached, right? So Six says there's women that trick rich men into bed.
Yes.
And says maybe your dad pretends to be
that's
rich.
What you don't understand is this goes both ways.
Oh, so she's a gold digger, Sal. Is this where we're... Okay.
Hey, I'm not saying she's a gold digger. I'm just saying, like the door in the kitchen, this goes both ways. Okay?
Oh, yeah. Because Nick ain't no broke.
Yeah.
So you're saying screw Arlene McCafferty because she only slept with him because he lied and said he had money.
Maybe. I'm saying we don't have all the information yet.
So Blossom needs to know more about this woman, and younger viewers watching this in present day on Disney Plus are like, look up her socials, stupid. Yeah. Well, I mean, the way you portray her, I'm sure she has an OnlyFans, so.
She take my money
when I'm in need. Oh, she's a gold digger. Oh my god, that is such a good song.
Right?
I think I've asked you this. Do you watch Blackish?
No.
Oh my god. Dude. That show is amazing.
If they have an episode where a single father sleeps with a random person one night, that might just set me off.
No, he's married and he makes it work. He keeps his marriage intact, and he has a beautiful family.
Hey, I'm all for it. I'm getting married, you know? I'm not.
Yeah,
That is not my lifestyle.
you're just a champion for it.
Nah, I'm not a champion for it. I'm just not offended by it in any way.
Fair enough. Okay.
Let's move on. So Blossom says if this woman's her future stepmom, she's going to need to hire a private
I feel like a
detective.
call the next day isn't the worst thing.
Agreed.
You know, it's the least you could do. You know, maybe some breakfast,
I mean, at least this day and age, at least there's a text, right? You can at least
Right?
send a text.
like a little thumbs up smiley face.
Yeah, just
At least
anything.
that.
Just acknowledge
You know?
their existence.
If you hurry, we can go to Smitty's before 8 when the breakfast is still $3.99.
Right.
You know,
Right.
like, so get up. And now I don't feel any guilt of not talking to you anymore because you got the $3.99 Smitty's breakfast. I remember your name. It's the bare minimum, and Nick is not prepared to do the bare minimum, is my point.
So Blossom and Six are sitting in the restaurant in disguise. They're both dressed like E.T. when they try to disguise him.
Yep.
And they spot Arlene. Six says she doesn't trust her because she tries to appear hardworking. And then suggests that they leave the restaurant because they can't afford anything. And Blossom says they can't leave because they haven't found anything out about her yet.
Before we went to the scene, though, when she said, I'm not going to hire a private investigator, I'm going to do it myself, I said, yeah, girl, you'll blend right into the background in your red and yellow checkered sweatpants, your yellow short-sleeved flared collar button-up, and one of Anthony's sleeveless leather vests.
Right.
No one's going to notice you.
No, not at all. And then I think what she wore to the restaurant is even worse. She's like wearing an Abe Lincoln hat.
Right?
Like,
Because Honest Abe, her father, is not.
well done.
Although Arlene was the one that... No, that joke won't work. I was going to say she was the one that got shot in the back of the head, but clearly not if she had a baby. Oh! Oh! What is happening tonight, Sal? Huh? That's not appropriate.
Oh God, this episode is all over the place.
Who thought I would one day make a sex Abe Lincoln Blossom joke? Right? There's a lot of moving parts there, Sal. That's going on my resume.
Well done. Just then, Arlene comes up to them and asks if they need anything. Blossom says, "No, we're good, Arlene."
This is the Blossom swerve we've kind of been missing these last few episodes to bring this, to reel this back in. Because you think there's going to be 10 minutes of Arlene kind of trying to figure out what's going on, but the bubble bursts, like, immediately.
Yeah, like right away, yeah.
She's like, you're Nick's daughter, aren't you?
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, well done. Because, the Full House sitcom would make me think that this is just going to get more and more ludicrous as things continue to go wrong, right?
Yeah,
But
totally.
no, it's over before it begins. So good on them. Good stuff. Harebrained scheme falls apart right at the starting line.
Yeah, so Arlene asks if she's spying on her, and she probably thinks that she's some vengeful beast. And Six says, more like conniving and pathetic. And then Arlene starts to talk about how hard it is to raise a baby on her own, which...
Sal looks at his watch.
No, totally. I get it. It can't be easy. There's no way. But as she's doing this, there's like a guy with a violin comes up and starts playing.
It was really good. I really enjoyed that.
It's a good callback that comes up a few more times. Arlene's talking about raising a baby on her own and would like to know who the father is for some help. That's when the violin player comes. Arlene says every kid should have two parents, and then asks Blossom how she'd feel if she lost her dad. And then I think this is like, it's going to go into a heavy moment, and Blossom starts talking about how her mom like left the family. And then this is when the guy comes back with the violin.
Right? I said, I don't know what's happening, but whatever's happening, I'm all in. This feels like episode 5 to 8 Blossom.
Right. Yeah, this is a good moment. And you can actually
this is really good stuff.
While Mayim's talking about her mom and the guy's playing the violin, you can tell like she's trying so hard not to break.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I said Mayim is totally fighting a Jimmy Fallon smile as she says her last line before telling him to take a hike.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah, so the scene ends with Arlene and Blossom coming to some kind of understanding with each other.
Well, it ends when she says, how about I buy you two a couple of sodas? And Six says, how about a couple of lobsters? Then it struck me, if Blossom was a sitcom in 2021, Six would 100% be a vegan. Right?
Oh,
like, she would be the wacky vegan friend in today's sitcom.
Yeah. Yeah, you're totally right.
But back then, man, Jenna Von Oy, she just wanted some lobster.
Yeah. Good on her for trying.
Yeah, for sure. Back at home, Nick and Anthony are pacing, and both are very nervous.
Yes.
But for different reasons.
They're both waiting for the phone. Anthony's date is about to start, and Nick's waiting to hear the DNA results from the lab.
What's Nick's line, Sal? I feel bad for myself. I feel bad for Arlene. I feel bad for the situation. I feel bad for the baby. And more importantly, I feel bad for myself again.
Yeah.
Psycho!
All right.
Psychopath! It's all about you, Nick. It's all about you.
Oh, it's not all about him.
Yeah, he doesn't have to live with a baby the rest of his life.
Sure he does.
He's gonna slide someone a 20 to lie about the paternity test, and he is never going to think about Arlene McCafferty or his kid ever again. He will be the one stomping her head into the pit of disposable Blossom characters after this episode.
All right, man. Now you're just writing some unreasonable fan fiction here.
Get to the bottom, Arlene.
After he says that line, Anthony tells him to focus on the positive. Nick says, yeah, well, at least he still has his hair. And then he rubs his hand through it, sees some hair come out.
I have to make note that if Nick kept his pants hiked that high, he wouldn't be in this predicament.
Looking like White Urkel.
Right.
The only other note I wrote about, like, when Nick rubs his hand through his hair, Anthony does, like, this funny reaction where he goes, aw. And I wonder if that was improvised because it just, like, felt super authentic.
We'll get to Anthony's acting here in a second, because I made a note as well.
All right. So it's after this part, Anthony asks Nick what he's going to do if he's the baby's father. And this is where Nick says, I will be the baby's father.
What does that mean?
Means he's going to step up and be the baby's father if it's his child.
Ah, all right.
What do you think it means?
I don't know. He's speaking in, like, vague.
It's not vague. He's basically saying he's going to man up. He's going to man up and take care of the baby.
What does that look like? How is he going to take care of the baby?
Dude, I don't know. I don't know. I don't have all the answers.
He's done everything to wipe Arlene McCafferty and this baby off the face of the earth, and now he's like, oh, I'm totally going to... I'll send it some food stamps. I don't know.
Oh, man.
I have no reason to believe Nick has good intentions at this point.
All right.
But then there's weird timing with Blossom and Joey, because Joey wonders why they never talk, and then he goes into a weird observation about, like, Disney characters,
Yeah.
and Blossom says, this is why we never talk, and the audience laughs, and I was like, that's Joey.
It wasn't that good.
Yeah, and then they stop laughing when we get a cut to Joey, who says, oh, and silence, and it was like his feelings are hurt, and now the audience feel like dicks for laughing at that joke, and I'm just all over the place. I don't know where this is supposed to go. It's so weird.
Yeah. So Joey's whole line in this scene is, how come we never talk? And then when Anthony walks into the room, he says the same thing to him. And Blossom's basically like, yeah, don't waste your time.
So finally the phone rings.
Yes.
I said, this is a great moment. Nick solemnly answers and goes, yes, yes, yes. It's for you, Anthony. And that was really good. I really enjoyed that. I laughed out loud.
Nice.
So it's Kathleen. Anthony's reaction to this is absolute money. Like the actor.
Oh, yeah.
In a rare first, I want to give this week's acting award to the actor that plays Anthony. Just for that one reaction. That was amazing how he played that.
The whole phone call was great.
Yeah.
Just how he
this show is back to hitting heights.
Yeah. So he basically blows it, hangs up, and he's got his head in his hands, and Nick is just like, what was that, man? Like, what just happened?
Because he says he spent all afternoon with a recovering uncle. His uncle's a leper, but he's recovering from a car accident, and he was driving and his hands fell off. And then there's another great cutaway of, Joey and Blossom reacting, and then he hangs up, and Nick says, what happened? He says, every time I talk to her, I'm an idiot. And then what does Nick say? He says, you are who you are.
Yes.
What? Oh, yeah, all right.
Yeah, but then Anthony's like, oh, what, I'm an idiot? And then Nick tells Anthony that he faced his demons, and that takes a lot of guts.
If I was Anthony, I would have been like, that's it, I'm going to pull out unlike you and leave the room.
Jesus.
That's what I would have said.
Yes.
Can't come in here with your moral high ground, Dad. Yeah, you're trying to zing me now? Is that what's happening? You're trying to put me in my place, Dad?
God
You don't
forbid.
get to ever.
God forbid.
You don't get
Nick
to ever
Russo.
pass judgment on any of them ever again.
Because he had a one-night stand, man. So it's after this that Joey goes up to Nick and says, and asks him why they never talk either. And then Nick just responds with, he doesn't need pants, he has feathers. And Joey understands. And then Nick tells him to write it down this time.
Yeah, because that was where the Disney joke was. I wasn't tracking it, but he's wondering why Donald Duck wears a shirt and no pants.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
not a great joke. It's
No, but that's the thing about Blossom. And, like, to give credit, there's all this stuff that I don't write down, and then later it's relevant again.
right. Yeah, fair enough.
It's almost, it's going to be a stupid comparison, but a lot of these episodes are almost like Seinfeld in that way, where everything kind of comes back towards the end, and is all the stuff that you didn't think was really relevant is part of, like, this giant cornucopia of punchlines.
That's true. Yeah, there's a lot of things that don't just fall off and go nowhere.
That's the most frustrating thing about having a running diary while I watch these episodes, because I'm lazy and I'm like, okay, I'm not, this part isn't important. And then it is important, then I have to go back and find out where it was and clock it.
Yeah.
I'm doing that all the time. Blossom says she checked out Arlene. She went and saw her at the restaurant, and Nick freaks out.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I guess Nick's assuming Arlene has sex with everyone she meets. So he was like, what happened, Blossom?
Oh, God. Yeah, so Blossom basically says she likes her. She seems like she'd be a good stepmom. And Nick seems shocked. And Blossom says, well, I thought you said you were going to do the right thing.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, God, no. Oh, my God. What? No. Oh, my. What? Spend any sort of time with Arlene? Oh, my God. No. No. What's the matter with you, Blossom? Like, Arlene? Like, you thought I would actually, like, spend time with her? No. Is basically his reaction.
Sure. He says he married their mother out of love and that didn't work out. He's not going to marry some woman he hardly knows. And Blossom says, listen to yourself. It sounds like this was just about the sex. And I wrote, bingo.
Yeah. To be fair, when he says, I married your mom out of love and that didn't work out. I'm not going to marry this girl I hardly know. And I said, wow, shot between the eyes. Let's crawl in the dirt. These are the hard to swallow pills that makes this show great.
Right?
For real.
Yeah.
Right? It did not go where I thought it was going to go. Props to that for Nick. I've ragged on this entire episode, but to actually just stand up and own it.
Yeah, he kind of does, though. And he says...
He kind of does. And I was like, all right.
He has to, like, awkwardly explain it to Blossom that they were two consenting adults. He says that that's the best way that he can explain it, and he's not super comfortable talking about it. No doubt.
Yeah, and she says, I can't handle this. And he says, well, if you weren't spying on everyone, you wouldn't have to handle it. And I was like, I'm on Nick Russo's side now. What happened here? Screw Blossom. I know, right?
It's true.
Totally.
It's true. None of this would have happened.
I was like, go to your room, child. You don't get it. I was like, yes, give it to her, Nick.
See? There it is. He's an adult.
Tell her how it's okay to
child.
do the one thing you're terrified she's going to do because it's 1991 and you're a man, damn it.
Oh, God. All right. Whatever.
I said, there's the lesson, Nancy Tracy. You got it out there. See? It makes sense now why she's writing this.
There you go.
But I think her shining the spotlight on sexism in 1990 just went way over everyone's head. I'm picking up what you're laying down, Tracy. I saw what you were trying to do. It just didn't work because it was 1991.
So just then the phone rings. Nick tells Blossom to go away. She pretends to go up the stairs again, but then he tells her to go all the way up. And he answers the phone, and we don't get an answer one way or another as the scene ends.
I thought he was going to be like, yep. 2,000 now and another 2,000 after she's dead.
God.
Before we move on, can I just say that he says, are you sure? Because we don't get the answer. And then he exhales. And I wrote, I'm like 90% sure he isn't the dad, but I think you would react a little more. Like, dear God, to find out you're actually not the dad, I think you'd react a little more.
All right, so Nick shows up at Arlene's restaurant. He basically calls her out and he's like, what happened?
Yeah, and Arlene says, I just got a call from the lab as well. Neither of us are the parents. Yeah. She's like, I didn't think it was you. And I wrote, where are we going here? Like, she's a gold digger?
Right.
You know, she only had one other man, and it was her ex-husband, and she can't find him. And she starts telling him how hard it is, and the violin guy comes back. And in the back, Table 8's watching this all go down, wondering where their food and their Dr. Pepper refills are. Then she puts over Blossom.
Yeah. She basically says she was hoping, she wasn't sure that Nick was the dad, but she was kind of hoping that it was him, because based on how Blossom is, he would have made a good father. And then she asks if his other kids are smart like Blossom, and there's a long pause. And this got the biggest laugh of the night.
Yeah. I wrote great pause, great timing.
Yeah. And Nick says they're all special. And then Arlene says she's got to get back to work because she's got a baby to feed.
And what does Nick say?
He says if she ever needs anyone to talk to, she can reach out to him anytime.
I wrote, you fucking serious, bro? Now that he's in the clear, he wants to get right back in the game?
Yeah, he's throwing a Hail Mary.
You serious, Nick Russo?
Nick, Arlene, and we all know that she's never coming out of the pit.
It's Abe Lincoln time, Arlene. Watch out.
So Nick comes home. Blossom and Joey are on the couch. They ask how it went. Nick says fine. Joey asks what he would have done if the baby was his. And Nick said he would have picked up a second job and gotten used to dirty diapers again.
Why doesn't he pick up a second job now for his kids? For the kids he has. He's like, oh man. If I had a real kid, I'd have to get more work and make more money for this house, I guess.
Come on, man. You can't just give him a win. You can't just give the guy
No, this guy sucks. This guy sucks as a dad. I'm sorry.
All right. So then Joey says this situation could have ruined his first sexual experience. And Blossom says, don't worry, that's just a small portion of what will ruin your first sexual experience. And Nick almost looks directly into the camera. It's kind of becoming his own, like, Jim Halpert thing.
Yeah.
You know, he always like looks into the camera. Joey says he's going back upstairs to do some reading. And Nick says it'll have to be a book this time. He cleaned out under his bed this morning.
And I wrote, because if I was waiting for the most important phone call in my life, I'd be cleaning the house. And then I wrote, actually, yeah, that probably would be where my nervous energy is going. So that checks out. That's fine.
And then as if on cue, Anthony's back from his date.
Here comes Kramer.
I'd forgotten all about Kramer's plot point by this time.
Yeah.
They ask how the date went, and he says that he told the girl everything.
This is so good.
And Blossom says, and she liked you, that's great. And he says, no, she hated him. And she hated all of us.
And Blossom goes, even me? What did I do? And he says...
And Anthony says, she hated your name. And Blossom's reaction,
oh my God.
Her face is like, yeah, that's understandable.
Right? I said, this is a married with children moment.
Yeah.
This may be my second favorite episode, Sal.
It was so good.
They are just knocking it out of the park.
Yeah. So Anthony's happy because he said he hated her too. He said she's a really dull person. He knows unconscious people with more personality than her.
Is this the darkest line in sitcom history? Anthony, former drug addict, says he's known unconscious people who were more fun than her. What are we implying here, folks? What are we implying? Blossom apologizes for snooping, and she says it's hard to think of your dad as a person. Yeah, he's not much of one, Blossom. Don't worry about it. She says, it's hard to think of your dad as a person. I said, yeah, a person who sleeps with women and doesn't give a That's how I ended it.
This episode basically ends with, now that's what I call a sticky situation.
It totally does. There's a lot of moving parts to this episode, but somehow yet, there was a treasure chest full of gold.
Amazing.
This may be the funnest one we've ever reviewed.
Arlene McCafferty is in the pit this week.
I'm having a baby!
She was played by Megan Gallagher.
Yeah. And I thought that was funny.
The first thing I had to look up was, does she have any relation to the comedian Gallagher? And not from what I could find.
Because Gallagher does the smashing, and she just gets smashed.
That's it. We're ending the show right there.
What's next week?
Next week is the season finale of season 1. It's called Love Stinks.
And cancer be tapping on my shoulder.